You and I have known each other for years and years, but if you're watching this and you don't know who this brilliant man is, this is Filip Sardi, and he is a very good friend of mine. He is the creator of LaunchFlow and has done some amazing things in terms of optimizing your client experience without having to add more to your business. And I'll let him say the rest of it.
That's actually beautiful intro because that's essentially it. Help your clients win more often without creating more complexity in your business. And then you increase the backend revenue and you increase your client wins, their experience, and have them staying longer in your world. And that's the core mission of the client flow movement. And we know each other for, we can say now, a long time. But when I realized that your brand is a brand launch flow, and I was already thinking about some kind of flow, I knew this conversation we are having today is supposed to happen at one time because it's totally complementary because you're helping them get to the point where people say yes naturally, and then I can take over.
And that's how they stay, they win, they buy more, they bring their friends, right? All of that client delivery experience. And I'm really focused on how you get someone to say yes, get someone into your world and to get them to say yes. And then the handoff is what happens after that. And it's so important. And we can't all handle everything. And so I
Yeah.
love that the flow just flows from launch flow to client flow.
Exactly. And there is a huge difference. Oh, I gotta say this for everybody, anybody watching. Like, there are different ways for people to say yes because they're in different emotional states. And I've seen like a lot of clients suffering on their, for example, the beginning of the journey when people start the onboarding process because their marketing was hyped up by, I don't know who wrote the copy, it doesn't really matter, but it was like promising all these different things and promising to save the world in 7 days. And of course, people were like, okay, let's do it. But then the reality hit in when they got the logins and it was just another course or just another program. I believe it's like super important the way how you get them to say yes, because if done the right way, like we started saying with the narrative that kind of provides the normal, natural step, it's a lot easier for me to do my job afterwards because we can just take over and keep the flow instead of just like changing the, I don't want to say false, but a different narrative and changing that emotional highs and lows into something that should normally flow in the balance.
And it is a loop because someone who comes into your world with the right expectations, with the right alignment, and they join your program, your offer, they work with you, and they immediately see that what they were sold is what they're getting.
Yeah.
That's a win in itself. And they are more likely to give you a great testimonial, become a partner, refer people to you because you are the person, sometimes rare in this world. We're hoping to gather more of them to us, right? But who does what
Yeah.
they say they're going to do. And that's not to say you can't show your best side in your marketing, but we want it to be real. We want it to be true. We want it to
Exactly.
be authentic.
That's it. That's it. Even though authenticity is getting a bad rap because a lot of people use it now as an excuse. Look at
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm really like, that's me. That's not my AI. But at the same time, that's one of the reasons why I focus so much on when working with clients, just on focusing on getting the micro wins. When we are showcasing results, especially what their clients are getting, we are dialing down the expectations by offering realistic results, not like one hit wonders, because we all get them, but that's not the reality. We're helping clients get big results, but with small compounding wins. So just showing authenticity in that way, I think it's a great first step for them to nail the flow on both sides of the journey.
So, what are most people missing when it comes to their client flow? In other words, what are the biggest opportunities that you see?
People don't know what's happening with their clients. They assume that they know, and then the people who are thinking, I need to learn more about what's happening in my clients, or immediately jump into, oh, I need to track all these different metrics, all these different KPIs. And that's not the case because there are a couple of, let's call them key make or break milestones, where if they just pay a bit more attention on how they design the journey, immediately, let's call it magic starts happening and more clients get to the end and we get all the goodies, testimonials, referrals, and backend revenue extra.
And here's a pause to say that you should go sign up for the workshop if we're talking about this. And the reason that we're having this conversation is because You're launching your cohort of your program, and
Yeah.
I'm launching a cohort of the LaunchFlow Accelerator. And I've got a workshop as well that's called Nail Your Narrative, which is really about putting that initial piece in place. And so go sign up for both of them, really.
Exactly, exactly. Make your life easier and simply just understand that there are no huge blocks, really just understanding basically, okay, what happens when people start? What happens when they consume your content? And what happens when they implement? And how you finish your cooperation and how you optimize for next steps. And it's the same thing, I believe, like defining and nailing your narrative. I assume it has like a couple of key milestones, let's call them like that, where you base your entire framework and approach towards that part.
Yeah, the way we think about it is we start with a couple of pieces. We start with a couple of core pieces. We dig in, and
Hmm.
then we're putting it into a framework, a journey that has four
Yeah.
pieces to it. And so that's what we'll be diving deeper into on the workshop. And here's the thing that I really believe is that most of us have the copy inside of us, honestly. If someone asks the right questions, you have the answers. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of accessing them. And that's
yeah.
what's hard when we're sitting there and trying to write it or trying to fill out a template or trying to wrangle
Hmm.
ChatGPT into giving us something useful. That's the hard part. I really believe in the co-creation and the conversations to be able to
Hmm.
access what we already have and put it together in a way that's going to convert.
Very complimentary again. That's why I like this. I like this flow because simple people ask me a lot, hey, if I want to get better results, do you really need to change my program? And no, we are not touching your expertise. We are not touching your framework. It's just like how you structure the experience and steps they're going through it makes such a big difference. And on your side is how they create and co-create and how you help them make the process easier for
Mhm.
something they already know how to do. So, yeah, I think when is the date of your workshop?
July 15th.
Okay, I'm June 25th. So we
So
start with the backend flow and then we move to the front end flow and then you have the full client journey picture.
yeah, definitely. July 15th, I believe 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Same here.
And
Yeah.
we'll make sure that we get the links for both of those in wherever you are seeing this post.
So wherever you are, come join us. Click on a link and yeah, let's co-create some flow on both sides of client journey.
Awesome. I love it.